Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Hayya lis-salah. Hayya lis-salah. Hayya lis-salah. Hayya lis-salah. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. La ilaha illallah.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. Naduhu wa asta'inuhu wa astadihi wa astaghfiruhu wa uminu bihi jalla wa ala wa la akfiruhu wa ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu. As-salatu al-huda wa din al-haq liyudhhiruhu ala din kullihi wa law kariha al-mushrikun. All praise belongs to Allah. We praise Him, we seek His help, His assistance, and His guidance. We believe in Him and do not disbelieve in Him. I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, and Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is His servant and messenger. Allah sent him, that is Muhammad, with Deen al-Haq, the religion, the way, the methodology of truth, and His way of life known as Islam, will rise to its proper position in this world, whether the mushriks like it or not. Amma ba'd, فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وأوثق الأمور كلمة التقوى وخير البلاد ملة إبراهيم وخير السنن سنة محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وأشرف الحديث ذكر الله وأسد القصص هذا القرآن وخير الأمور أوازنوها وشر الأمور محدثاتها وأحسن الهدي هدي الأنبياء وأشرف الموت قتل الشهداء وأما دلالة بعد الهدى وخير الأعمال ما نفع وخير الهال ما نتبع وشر الأمة أما الكلب. The Prophet ﷺ said the most truthful of discourses is the book of Allah, Kitabullah. The most trustworthy word is taqwa, or fear of Allah. Best of the community is the community of Prophet Ibrahim. The best way of life is the Sunnah, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Remembrance of Allah is the most glorious of all things. The best of all narrations is Quran. The best acts are those requiring the highest degree of will and determination. The worst acts are those based on innovation. The best way of life is the one adopted by the prophets of Allah. The most glorious death is the death of the martyr. The most wretched blindness consists of going astray after finding the right way. Best acts, the ones that yield benefits. Best guidance is that which people may be able to follow. The worst blindness is the blindness of the heart. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Inna Allah ya'muru bil 'adli wal ihsani wa ita'i dhil qurba wa yanha 'anil fahsha'i wal munkari wal baghi ya'idukum la'allakum tadhakkarun. Allah commands justice, doing of good, and liberality to kith and kin. He forbids all shameful deeds and injustice. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu attaqullaha haqqa tuqatihi wa la tamutunna illa wa antum muslimun. O you believe, fear Allah as he should be feared, and do not die except in the state of Islam. Kuntum khayra ummatin ukhrijat lin-nasi ta'muruna bil ma'rufi wa tanhauna 'anil munkar wa tu'minuna billah. You are the best peoples raised up for mankind, because you enjoin the right, you forbid the wrong, and you believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَاعْتَصِمُوا بِحَبْلِ اللَّهِ جَمِيعًا وَلَا تَفَرَّقُوا. And hold fast all together by the rope which Allah stretches out for you, and be not divided amongst yourselves. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala khairul mursaleen. Muhammadin al-Nabi al-Ummi wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Amma ba'd, yaqulu Allah ta'ala fil Quran al-Kareem. Inna Allaha wa malaikatuhu yusalluna ala nabi. Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu sallu alayhi wa sallimu tasliman. Allahumma salli ala sayyidina Maulana Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. It is reported on the authority of Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was told that Musa, son of Imran, once asked, "O my Lord, who is the most honorable of your servants? Who is the most honorable of your servants?" He replied, "He who pardons in spite of having power." So this leads into technically one of our favorite ayats, which we have been, وَاعْتَصِمُوا بِحَبْلِ اللَّهِ جَمِيعًا وَلَا تَفَرَّقُوا, or وَمَنْ أَحْسَنُ قَوْلًا مِمَّا دَعَا إِلَى اللَّهِ وَعَمِلَ صَالِحًا وَقَالَ إِنَّنِي مِنَ الْمُسْلِمِينَ. ولا يلاكها ولا تستوي الحسنات ولا السيئات ادفع بالتي هي أحسن فإذا الذي بينك وبينه عداوة كأنه ولي حميم وما يلاكها إلا الذين صبروا وما يلاكها إلا Hakim Adim. Who is better in speech than one who calls men to Allah, works righteous deeds, and says, I am of those who bow in Islam. Nor can goodness and evil be equal. Repel evil with that which is better, then will be between whom and thee was hatred become as it were a friend and intimate. And no one will be granted such goodness except those who exercise patience and self-restraint. No one but persons of the greatest good fortune. Before we go into the subject, I wanted to read these two because, the ayat and hadith. So the hadith is saying, who is the most honorable of your servants in thy sight? So this is Allah, the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is being asked, and he replied, he who pardons in spite of having power. In other words, if you want to know the good or the best people in the existence, and there's several hadith going in this direction, those that pardon other people in spite of that person having power and authority over the people that he is, let's say, forgiving or overlooking their deeds. This is considered a high quality person, big in reality. The other is probably our favorite series of ayats, especially for the last 10 to 15 years. Because what we have talked to you about over the last 3 or 4 weeks would seem like a shock. It's not a shock because we've been evolving in this direction all along. It's a shock to you, but it ain't no shock to me. Okay? Why is it no shock? I just want you to understand what وَمَنْ أَحْسَنُ قَوْلًا مِمَّا دَعَا إِلَى اللَّهِ وَعَمِلُوا صَالِحًا وَقَالَ إِنَّنِي مِنَ الْمُسْلِمِينَ. Who is better in speech, or what's the best speech that you could give or talk that you can do? Da'a ila Allah, call people to Allah. Amilu salihat, and do good deeds. And then even here in America, or wherever we might be, we would say, I'm happy, I'm proud to be a Muslim. I'm not afraid that you know I'm a Muslim. I'm happy about it. I'm proud of it. Nor can goodness and evil be equal. Repel evil with that which is better. Then between whom and them has been hatred become, as it were, a friend and enemy. So, وَلَا تَسْتَوِي الْحَسَنَاتُ وَلَا السَّيِّئَاتُ أَدْفَعْ بِالَّتِي هِيَ أَحْسَنُ فَإِذَا الَّذِي بَيْنَكَ وَبَيْنَهُ دعوة كأنه ولي حميم. So it's saying goodness and evil are not the same. So it's not the same. So repel evil, go up against evil with good. Repel evil, well, it's actually not saying that. It said that which is better. So the best that you can muster up, bring that, right? Bring those good deeds. The best that you can Hustle up, bring that, because it's saying, nor can goodness and evil be equal. Repel evil with that which is better. Then will he between whom and thee as hatred become as it were a friend and enemy. Now, the key words here is hamimun and waliyun. You know, wali, friend and enemy, you know. Lawyer, someone who speaks on you for your behalf, someone who goes in your stead or for your benefit. So it uses the word wali, hamimun waliyun. Hamim is warm water or hot water, like, you know, something that's warm. So it's saying the people that you were having difficulty with, maybe even people that's been historically oppressing you and depriving you, don't treat them the same way they was treating you. That's basically what it's saying. In the fact, you can return, if somebody hits you in the face, you can hit them back equal. Right? That's legal in Islam. But the best is not to return that punch. And the best on top of that is do something good. Those are not easy things. It's easy to write it or recite it, but it's not easy. Okay. What's particular when we really start not understanding, but see, because you understand ayats in the Quran on different levels as you go along. If this is your 40th time reading the Quran, you picked up, you know, a little elevation, and we read the same ayat, and sometimes you can read the ayat, and you can say over and over, how did I miss that ayat? Because that's the year for you, and that ayat is jumping out straight at you, and it's clarifying years of lifespan in that one ayat, and you're trying to figure, how did I have to have read it? But there it is. During the opiate, well, not during it, but in the middle of it, when Europeans were really getting hurt bad with opium. Because, see, for me and you, they just brought heroin in the neighborhood and dropped it off and said, knock yourself out. And we went on with it. But they didn't, some white people got addicted the same way. But the general way was they slipped it up on them with, oh, you got back pain, oh, you got foot pain, you got never even pain. Here, what we gonna do, we gonna give you some legal opium. And you take this pill and you're going to be all right. And some people knew what they was doing from Jump Street. Some people got hooked inadvertently. They didn't try to get hooked. They just took the medicine. The pill factories, you know, the big companies, me and you sell dope on the corner in little bags. But the other people, they sell it in about a bucket load. And it's legal. You know, it's okay. I mean, you know, we ain't crying about it. But anyway, when they started getting hooked in big numbers, it was serious. And if you remember some 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, this is when we would, maybe we were cowardly, we didn't go. But we wanted to go to places like West Virginia and talk at churches and let people know about what they're dealing with. You know, basically white folks, because we've been facing addiction all the time. But all of a sudden, it started, numbers like 60, 70,000 people dying per year of overdoses, right? I mean, that's That's serious, right? So we said we have some experience with that. So we're going to go talk to them. And this was our niyyah. This was our intention. But this stuff moves so fast before you can get out the door that they bid and hooked another 100,000, another 70,000, and it just adds up more and more. And then they start mixing more with oxycontin and all that stuff. And so I watched several programs. Now you could go to some of these drugstores or something, and you can get Narcan. You know that Narcan that just bring you back. Now, Negroes don't mind being brought back, but have you seen what Europeans do when they OD and you give them some of that Narcan and they come back, they be mad. Because they left there on Easy Street, right up in the sky, and they mad. Man, you come bringing me back to this thing here, you know. You ever seen some of the programs? They be mad that they got brought back. They would have, the Negro, he happy. Life is miserable, but hey, I'd rather be miserable than dead. That's the way you look at it. Anyway, so this is our hope. وَمَنْ أَحْسَنُ قَوْلًا مِمَّنْ دَعَا إِلَى اللَّهِ وَعَمِلَ صَالِحًا وَقَالَ إِنَّنِي مِنَ الْمُسْلِمِينَ. Who is better in speech to invite people to Allah, work righteous deeds and say, I'm a Muslim. And then it goes on to say, good and evil are not equal. And then it says, return evil for that which is better or best. Then when it uses the word waliyun and hamimun, then the people between you and them was meanness and anger and hatred may become, technically what it says, you may become their wali. Now when we start talking this, everybody say, man, wali, you know. Not just any old wali, hamimun, warm and fuzzy friend, right? That's a big deal. But the people been busting you upside the head, putting you in jail, stealing your money, working you to death on the farm, independent, wherever you at, right? Now, you're not going to return, if you come to power, you ain't going to return bad for bad, what they did to you. You're going to follow the Quranic principle, and it says you're going to return good for evil, or that which is best. So he may give you the lowest, but you're going to return to that person or those people the highest. We were going over this over and over again because we were preparing for where we are now. Now, if y'all remember years ago, we said we in this stage of struggle, but we're going to move into science fiction management. Does anybody remember that we talked, this is years ago, we said we got strategic management under conditions of repression, we got all of that. But eventually, we're going to get into this higher level of sophisticated management or living. And we said, well, we'll talk about that later. Now, that's where we're moving in. And what I'm trying to explain now is this thing is evolutionary. So if I came here some weeks ago or a month ago and I start talking about our new stage that we're going into now, it ain't no brand new stage. Just like this ayat was no new stage. We evolved into that. Because our mission, us here, our mission is not the same It's what we see other people doing. Our mission, and they're Muslims, and they're good Muslims. But we are As-Sabiqun, Al-Awwalun, the first rank. People that go out first. So when we look at America, when we look at the world, we see ourselves as interacting with that world to make it good or better or the best world we could live in. That's how we want to interact with it. It don't make no difference how the world acts on us. Let me go over that again. Technically it means this. We don't care what they do to us. We don't care what the system do to us. We have discovered and realized high levels of reality from this Quran. And that's what we're going to deal with. That's why we are As-Sabiqun Al-Awwalun, the first rank. Right? So that's our mission, to go out ahead of everybody else. And that's why the language that we've been involved in over the years have been an evolutionary language. But we have not, in my memory, went as far as we could go at that time because we felt that we must evolve. And you can't evolve by yourself, run out there, and get way ahead of everybody and nobody know what you're talking about, right? There's a time when we used terms like air war, this is like 20 years ago. But we couldn't go to where we are now. We couldn't jump all over psychological guerrilla warfare and all of those things and then just jump all the way over here to where we are now. Why? Because you have to prepare the surface, the soil has to be dug and mined and worked. Right? So everything that you're going to bring it out, it has to be brought out with some ease. Okay? If you're going to plant something in it, you've got to make it soft so water can seep down, right? And things can grow. The point is this. So we had to prepare not only ourselves, but prepare our community. Because As-Sabiqun have levels also. Sabiqun 20 years ago is different from our Sabiqun today. Okay, let me get on and try to. So, when this ayat is talking about doing good deeds and you're going to take the people that's been causing you trouble all of your life and you're going to become their wali and a warm, fuzzy wali, not rolling your eyes, right, and what have you. This is going to take some time. At least people got to hear it for a long time. At least in our estimation, that if you were to just jump boom, 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 or you got a rate of evolution and you're going to stick with that for yourself, and you traveling at 85 miles an hour and the rest of the community is traveling at 15, pretty soon you're going to be so far out there that ain't nobody going to know what you're talking about. And they're going to say, well, the brother is tripping, right? Something like that. So you have to be reasonable in each stage of the game. So now, and this is just the opening, by the way. Adawatun ka'annahu waliyun hamimun. So we felt a compassion for the people that were being addicted to opium, and we said, look, or opiates, they're doing the same thing to those people, white people, that they did to us. So let's try to get out there a little bit and let them know what they're going to be dealing with. By the time we've gotten ready to go, they'd already picked up on it, because they learn fast that your children and everything you love and everything they love, when they get hooked on that heroin, and some get fired up on that crank and all these other loose, and some be blending it. So you can tell, I mean, it'd be a helicopter up there buzzing around, right? Nowadays, then they might mix some of that with, let me put a little sprinkle of K2 in there. And see what that do. Amen. So anyway, we thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for having the desire and the want to do this job. I'll tell you why. According to Quran, Hadith, history, and all of that, that the strongest Hadith say if you want to do a good deed, you get one reward for just wanting to do it. And if you actually do it, shoot, you may get 10, 700, you know. Some Hadiths really take you out there. You may get 50,000 blessings for this. Okay. And no one will be granted such goodness except those who exercise patience and self-restraint. None but persons of the greatest good fortune. The people that can evolve to this level, they're very fortunate people. One of the words, has, it means good fortune, but the second meaning is good luck. It'll be very lucky. So when we look at a dictionary, we take them both together. A person living in this world today that comes to any higher level of consciousness and religiosity, especially the way the world has treated us, they just lucky. It's like you done hit the jackpot. Right? We used to have a saying, there's too many ways to be a fool to duck them all in Jahiliyyah. In other words, there's too many things happening to you. Oh, you're going to get over. Yeah, and you get over, but you like gambling, right? So you're a fool about gambling, so you lose all your money gambling. As smart and as well as you are, I have a lot of friends, they used to be pimps. They could pimp. Boy, they can do all of that, and they get their new car, and then they be broke. They get broke because I was a blow man, so they'd come spend all their money with me, right? And I never said I was pimping them, but that's what people would think. You got what they lack. So we used to have a saying, there's too many ways to be a fool to duck them all. Some guys is real stick in gambling, but they can't stay away from the girls. And there used to be a saying, that guy is too kind to his penis. He will never be nothing because he's too kind. We used to say, D-I-C-K. That nigga too kind to his private parts. In other words, for him to pimp, he can't pimp because he's too kind. He like the girls too much. So he gonna have them all in the house with him. Right, anyway, these subjects that we're dealing in right this minute signify not revolution, but evolution. And this last hadith that he said, O my Lord, who is the most honorable of your servants in thy sight? He replied, he who pardons in spite of having power. You overlook people and you forgive them in spite of having power and authority over those people. And I said all of that to get to this subject that we've been dealing with for a few weeks now. That subject is the system in which we're living under. Right? The things that we're dealing with in everyday life. Okay. It hit not long ago, but there are police departments, and there are mostly white males in these different groups, racial groups, that have been and always been filling up police departments all around the country. And it's been like that. That's why so many blacks get killed, because there are white people in those groups that's what they're there for. And a lot of people would never believe, you mean that there's people that go out for their work and they looking for an excuse to kill one of us? That's exactly right. That's what we're saying. And it's not a new thing either. It's been like that. That they would use their badge and their gun, right, as a security blanket for them against their behavior, whatever they do to you. And they shoot 12-year-old kids. I had a picture from '82 of a little 5-year-old black boy. Yeah, he had a gun. He was in the house. I don't know if you know them old Ruger 6-shooters are so heavy, it's a shame. Not an automatic, but them old 6-shooters. The kid could not hold the gun up straight, but he was in the house. The police looked through the window and killed the 5-year-old boy because he was holding the gun. He couldn't pick it up. 5 years old, you remember them old Rugers? He couldn't hold it up because he's only 5 years old. So if he messed around and hit something, he could only shoot in the floor or over the wall or something. The police shot and killed him, and there's many others, the same story. The point is that if we go out to address the situation that we live in the United States of America, we will have to have outgrown all of these things, or at least have managed, right? Where, just like it is, where you don't treat those people the same way they treat you. That's why the Quran uses the term that we just read, waliyun, wali, hamimun. You're going to treat them people or that group that have oppressed you ever since you've been here. You're going to treat them with such care and kindness as like having a warm, fuzzy friend, and they would be safe under you, safe with you. Okay, this is our vision of these ayats in Quran, and also it's our vision of life here in America and what our mission is. As-Sabiqun, they would believe they would go out and they would fight and they would do this. That's not what's needed here in America today. America and the United States is on the way out. Does anybody watch the news? All the stuff we talk about, all the shirts we wear, boss man bites the dust, boss man is biting the dust. And everybody is laying on it. You know, when you're the big man in town, if you treat everybody right, it's all right. But if you are a rat you take everybody's little girlfriend. I mean, a B-word personality, right? Everybody laying on you. Since you big, they can't do a whole lot, right? But once you start slipping down a little bit, all the people, by some miraculous signal, start feeling their Cheerios, right? And when you slip down 3 or 4 notches, everybody's, hey man, what's happening with you? How's your business, big boy? You ain't looking too good lately. Where's all that money? Where's the big rolls of $100 bills you used to be slapping people upside the head with, right? And all of a sudden you look up and everybody that used to fear you is now sitting by the calendar checking off the days for your final decline, right? That's the way America is. And you know what? Historically, America deserves that. That's the way America has treated people. The British did it before, the Romans, all the other European powers, the French, they all went all over our lands and did that to us. But the Quran is not speaking in these ayats about the language of revenge, right? It is saying, don't return evil for evil. And this ayat, it says, turn the best behavior for the evil that they did to you, right? What it says, I didn't make this up, right? And then it goes on, when it says friendly behavior, it says waliyun, their wali, or you're going to be their wali, you, me and you. We're going to be those people out there as wali. Hamimun, hamim in Arabic means warm, like warm water, like warm something. So that means you ain't going to just be there, Rafiki, a friend. As-Sabiqun. No. Waliyun hamimun. You're going to be a warm, fuzzy friend, fluffy, easy to touch, right? That's what the Quran says. All right, here's the point, dear believers. We seem to be inheriting a mission here in the United States. It just so happens that this inheritance keeps expanding and it's getting bigger. Nobody is out to be in that position because nobody's even thinking about it. They're thinking about, oh, we're oppressed and Black Lives Matter and all that stuff. We're thinking from a Quranic position. So what does this say to us? And I'm going to get back now to what we've been in the last few weeks. A strategic policy based on the time, place, and the circumstances in which we're living in. The place is America. The time is clearly a decline in America's power and, right, its grasp of reality. It's been going on a long time, but in the last, you can see it clearly. First they put the Negro in there to give, to make everybody love America. Oh man, a black man is president, this is wonderful. And you know what? America could have sold ice cream to Eskimos when they put a bomb in there. Tell the truth. They could have sold ice cream to Eskimos. Man, they blew it. brought Don in. Oh my goodness. And Don was good for America. When I say good, that means he showed people this is where I'm coming from. And he got half, 40 or 45% of people going with him, right? So what are we going to do? What is our mission? What is our job? Are we going to become like them and defend ourselves and black power, free the land, all power to the people, and all that stuff? This sounds nice, but here's the mission. And I'm not going to go through it in detail. I'm just going to say it like it is. Hopefully with Allah's help, we accept these series of ayahs to where we, remember, people are not the government, right? And all the time when we said that to America, we never meant that to the people. And the people in America are changing. You remember the Black Lives Matter? I bet you 70% of the people out there was white, remember? And we would go down there every day and we'd give a little talk to some of the people. They seemed to like it. But the people, Black Lives Matter, they didn't have nothing up their sleeve, you know, to have teach-ins and information sharing, right? They was just out there walking around. And we knew the people was going to get tired, right? And it was going to go away. So, we went down and did what we could. We got messages from overseas that that's a big change in America, and da-da-da-da. We said, ain't no change, nothing. And they sent reporters and everybody over here trying to convince me that that's a big difference. And I saw those peaceful faces, talking about white people. I said, those are nice kids. So to them it's a happening. Remember we go down there, they go on to the happening. Black Lives Matter, nothing else going. We're going to go down. And some of them was really real. The first one I went to years ago was when they had the thing in Ferguson, several years back. So at Malcolm X Park, they had a program down there. And I saw all the white kids, about 50-50. And my daughter was in high school at that time, so she's the one who wanted, Dad, take me down, I want to go. I said, okay, we'll go down. When we got there, it was a group of Negroes from New York. And they was talking about, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, death to the police. And so I'd seen it before. So Brother Ali was working with the microphone. I said, hey man, can I get the mic for a little while? He said, you got it. So I got up there and I said, there's people here talking about what they want us to do with the police. I said, back in the old days, that's how they got many of us killed. Coming in, talking all that gangster talk, right? And legally now, I couldn't say if they don't like the police, let them go. That's what I was hitting at. If you so bad, that police right there, you don't have to ask the people, let them go get them. You so bad, there they are. No barrier between y'all, right? The next time I saw those people, it was in Ferguson. It was in Ferguson, and they were saying the same thing they were saying here, and the people in Ferguson were saying, we don't want outsiders. Does anybody remember that? Coming here, telling us how to deal with our activity because we know what to do here in St. Louis and in Ferguson, right? people were the same types of people that diverted the movement in the old days. In other words, they gave the police justification to beat us all upside the head. That's why I told all the white folks that came, I said, we're going to thank y'all all for coming and, joining with us and protesting and saying that our lives matter like your lives matter, our children matter like your children matter, all that stuff. And the white people was happy. They didn't understand exactly where I was coming from, but they appreciated that somebody is saying something to them like that. The point is, we've had a lot of experience. They're believers, and we're at a stage now where the world is being turned upside down by itself. There's nothing going on that gives you hope. So if you look at the climate is bad, right? You look at the air is bad. You look at the water, it reminds me just down in Florida when they had that oil spill down there. You look in the Gulf and see all those fish. You go across Florida, and that was a ring around that whole area, an oil ring. It looks like you had a bathtub full of fresh water and poured a quart of oil in it. That's what the water looked like at that time. So, all of these things going on in the world, right? And we find ourselves here in the United States of America, and we have an opportunity. We have an opportunity to influence our own behavior. If we do it right, we can influence the American people's behavior, right? And if we do all that right, instead of the United States going into this massive decline, where it's headed, if we're not successful, this boy is finished. But so, what are we trying to do? What did we say a while back? We want to see America the good, right? Not America the great. That's what we want to see. We want to see America the good. Therefore, I'll speed it up. We want our people to become a part of the system in such numbers, that they can protect themselves, they can protect their families, right? And they can safeguard the society. Why would we say that? That don't sound that revolution you were talking about 25 years ago. Well, if you talk the same talk you talked 25, 30 years ago, you either have to be a genius or you have not evolved, right? 30 years ago, you might have been exactly right. As-Sabiqun was exactly right when we started out. But As-Sabiqun has to evolve. Remember, time, place, circumstance has so much to do with the interpretation of Quran and Hadith. Then how much more would it influence our behavior and our actions? I'm going to try to speed up a little bit and skip a lot of things that I wanted to mention here. What we're saying is this: we have to train ourselves to get involved in such numbers that we can safeguard our families. We can safeguard ourselves. The police is already, the white police, they joined, you see the white police, they're joining by the thousands. And they're the dumb police. They're the dumbest. Now suppose me and you, the middle class thinking Negroes, that we're happy. Okay, 90% of us going into the system anyway, right? Black people are not going in the private industry. I haven't seen hardly none. They're not going in the stock market. They're not going to go in this. They go, you see them downtown. When they get their degree, they become a government manager. Right? I'm just saying 95%. I mean, I know there's some out there in the private industry. I never see them. But some of them are got to be out there. What I'm saying is, let's do what we already trained to do. But have a purpose for joining the system. What's the purpose? Number one, if you're in every institution, that's not only the police, that's not only the sheriff, right? That's not only the FBI. That's in every doggone institution they got, including the military. Yeah, because who are they killing around the world? The U.S. military is killing us. Number one, is so many of them in there that you don't have no influence. But if at a critical level, when we're at 25% of, Mexicans are there too, black, brown, and then they didn't start beating the Chinamen, the Koreans, all them people upside the head, and they moved them for being totally anti-black. To, hey, me too, right? Tell the truth, it's great. They said, they're just lazy. They won't work, right? So the Asians, they be working, they work harder than the Arabs, so they be working like, and they study, everybody else study 8 hours a day, maybe 5 hours a day. I used to watch them at UC Berkeley. They would study all day, except when they sleep. So the Asians, that is the Chinese at that area, in those years, back in the 80s, they wouldn't classify them as a minority anymore, right? So they were studying all, and pretty soon there was so many of them in school, they had to start, I don't know whether it was wrong what they was doing, but they was making it hard for them to get into some of in the numbers, because the white folks were saying, man, y'all gotta stop studying so hard. Go play ball or something. The white boys run around kicking the ball. And then they study, standard European. And they said, man, you guys are just blowing it for everybody, man. You just studying so hard. You got the doggone learning curve way up here, right? And we can't cut it no more. So they was pleading, please stop studying so much, right? I'm telling you, UC Berkeley. But anyway, here's our mission. Our mission is to interject ourselves in this situation and really play a part in the evolution of humanity. That means if we get in the system, and I know we always talk against the system, but there's several elements. One is a time element, and the time element means that we don't even have time right now to make another move. This is all on us right now. So we can either do it or not do it. But the time element means that this time and accelerated. You used to get your degree in so many years. A doctor go get a degree and stay a doctor. But now a doctor got to go back for the last 20 years, even 30 years. He got to go back every few years to get updated new techniques in medicine because he's behind. And that's true in many fields and endeavors. Okay. Also, but we have to do this with a type of courage. Because people always wonder, well, you're talking all that jive, but you keep on, the white man gonna finish you off. You heard me tell them all the time? The white man will finish us off if Allah want him to, and when Allah want him to. Otherwise, we're gonna be here, right? And he can't do nothing about it. The other thing is your behavior. I'm just going to use a few terms before we close. Domesticating the system. We're individuals. We're black. What did we say? You said it, we said it, you've seen it. You can domesticate the system. You can train the system to respond to you. Well, they do. Around here they do, right? They respond to us. They don't tell us what to do because we didn't train them. Sabru wa nifsul iman. We all know the hadith about getting married is having faith. There's another hadith saying, Sabru, patience, wa nifsul is half of faith. Wa sabru wa nifsul iman. If we have the patience to endure, if we acquire the compassion for fallen humanity, you never know what reason Allah brought us here for. We thought, man, it's just labor to do work and then go to Hollywood and get a job. That's what we do. All kind of dumb stuff. Allah said niggas here to pimp. You know, that's what the hustlers, they used to say, man, talk about Africa, you know, the black nationalists. I ain't going back here. I can't pimp no white girls in Africa. I can pimp them girls here, right? And so they look at it like a blessing that they was here to pimp white women. And then they had some Negroes in the church. I heard it with my own eyes. That God brought us here and even slavery for good reason. And then, you know, you'd be looking at it like they was crazy. You know, slavery and Christianity, you know, I mean, it's fine, but I'm saying. And now here we are talking this love talk about rescuing humanity that's spent each and every extra minute and hour of their life beating us upside the head. Right? That's what the Quran says. Not only that, we're going to be waliyun hamimun. I'm going to move toward a close. So we've domesticated the system already. That's because of our belief system and the way we think. We are not afraid of the system. And you domesticate a horse or some other animal to get the benefit of it. We have domesticated America so that the people can get the benefit of America. I still am going to close in a minute, but I want you to think about so-called America. This is our environment. Do you know that 50 years ago or more, you know, white women didn't work, black women did, you know, it was all maids and stuff like that. But a white man could work in a factory, or wherever he worked, and they had housewives. Millions of them. All they they did was stayed home all day and wish they was doing something else. You know, that was America. 50 years on back, that was a special period. And so, I want you to look at that period and look at this period. You got to have 3 jobs, 2 jobs, both wife and husband. So your kids are running around acting crazy, right? Because you're not there to manage them or watch them or nothing like that, right? Okay. That's America today. The good old days, a student could come here and wash dishes, man. Get his degree and he could send his wife's parents several $100 a month and his parents several $100 a month. All every time, just washing dishes and stuff like that, and getting tips at the restaurant. Of course, that's back in the 80s. They ain't been doing that lately. You know, life has changed for America. And I'm saying to us about maturity, about evolution, about kindness, is when America goes, the American people go down. The rich people, they'll send their money somewhere else and they be over there. They be out on the beach in Cocoa Land somewhere. And the only people who will suffer will be me and you and the poor white folks. Right? And the Latinos, right? So our mission is a rescue mission. And I close with that idea. Our mission is to make life better. And in order to make life better, you have to live a while. If we don't develop institutional clarity, that means where we're in not only the police departments, fire departments, sheriff's departments, on all the educational, you know what I mean? Everything that's going on here in America. Although we're a small part of the population, if we hit it, if Latinos hit it, right? If all the minorities hit it, hey, guess what's going on? In a few years, we'll have institutional clarity on everything. And they won't be able to do nothing to us because they'd have to go to the Negro and tell him, well, you go kill all other Negroes. By that time, and I'll close with this, we're going to this university, that university, we're taking all the tests. In 10 years, you know who all the sergeants and captains and police leaders will be? Because our people are good on it, they didn't already go to the university. They'll slide right past all the dumb white folks, because the people, the white folks that join the police department are not brilliant guys. They're just dumb, mean white folks. Yeah. Okay? You want to let them pull you over? That's why in Louisiana and everywhere else, they still shooting us like dogs. The average white person running around here in shorts and smoking this, that, and other, they wouldn't harm you. They like you. It was 30 years ago, I parked to wash my car in Kansas City. And at the car wash, I was listening to all the music in the white neighborhood. I said, the white kids, all they're listening to is the Negroes. And they got the rock, they got the beat too. You know, I said, good God Almighty. Right? I mean, technically, they like you. And in South America and Pakistan, everywhere I used to go, guess what? Kids would follow me down the street. Because whatever role I was playing, sometime I'd be playing like a boxer. But in Pakistan, all the kids was following me. You know why? They thought I played soccer. Not soccer, but that thing they got, an old funny bat that the British, what is that? Cricket. See, all the big cricket players are from India and the islands, and so I'm black. So all the kids see me in Pakistan. He's a cricket player. You know, and they follow me down the street because I'm the chief cricket player. I don't even know what they call it. Well, I know now. Y'all just told me it's cricket. I'm trying to tell you, the people of the world don't hate us. It's only 2 or 3% of the media and other criminal elements here give the world a bad impression about us. But the people of the world like the Negro. They like Negro music, Negro clothes, and everything else colored, right? So wait till we start doing right. And we start going around the world teaching right and wrong. Well, they may not like it then, but I mean, I'm just trying to tell you, that's our mission. Oh Allah, we seek thy refuge from anxiety and grief. We seek thy refuge from lack of strength and laziness. We seek thy refuge from cowardice and regardlessness. We seek thy refuge from being overpowered by death and the oppression of men. O Allah, suffices what is lawful, keep from us what is prohibited. With thy grace, make us free from want, but what is decided. Ameen. Become a